Hi everybody, this is Klaus from Plant-Based News, His Royal Highness Prince Khalid bin Al Walid's YouTube channel and news outlet, the most trusted news source for vegan propaganda on the internet. This is an announcement reminding you that the climate crisis threatens to destroy us all. If we don't immediately stop making toxic babies, spreading toxic masculinity, and eating meat, the entire planet and all of us will soon all be dead. YouTube asked me to record this public service announcement to put in front of these videos to remind you that the totally real and completely not made up by the global elite to take your resources and declare a global emergency war on the climate, the totally real climate crisis is your fault for eating meat. The earth is on fire. Our home is dying, and it's because of you. If you don't stop spreading toxic masculinity, having toxic CO2 off-gassing human babies, and eating meat, the entire planet and all of us will soon be dead. The following video has been deemed by YouTube, Google, and the tech overlords to be fake news. Do not listen to any of the following opinions, and please remember, spay and neuter your sexual object partners to avoid toxic baby excretions. Back in January, The Economist magazine declared 2019 to be the year of the vegan. Of course, The Economist magazine being a mouthpiece of the international global establishment, right? The big money interests that are pushing veganism. Of course, they knew 2019 was going to be the year that they tied together veganism with the climate crisis rhetoric. We predicted back then that 2019 would be the year of the ex-vegan. That we would see vegan YouTube completely crumble and discredit itself. That we would see many popular vegan YouTubers come out and admit that it wasn't working for them. And it happened. We provided a platform here, talked to a lot of really kind people who were suffering from the vegan diet. We had Kasumi Chris, we had Drew Morg, we had Bobby from Bobby's Perspective. All right, guys. We had Tim Sheaf. We had so many people getting game changed out of the vegan diet and forced to admit that it is an inhumane, irreconcilably indigestible diet that is not suitable for human beings at any stage of development or at any stage of life. Luckily for us, we don't have to work so hard to discredit veganism anymore. Well, we never really did. It discredits itself. We got Dr. Klaper talking to Simnett Nutrition. Simnett Nutrition, he's a future ex-vegan. Seems like a pretty nice dude. He actually is holding up relatively well on a vegan diet. He says he's had some digestive issues in the past, but those are kind of cleared up now. We're going to get into all this in a minute here. So Simnett Nutrition talking to Dr. Eric Klaper, anti-nutrients, digestion, macros, protein, and more. But mostly they're just talking about farting. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to think about other things when you're bloated as shit on a vegan diet.
For those of you who don't know, Dr. Michael Klaper is a physician and an educator who's been promoting and seeing the benefits of a plant-based diet in not only himself, but also his patients since the early 80s. This guy is an OG of the game, guys, I'm telling you. You're definitely gonna wanna check out both parts of this, but in this first one, we talk about genetics, digestion, gas, bloating, macronutrients, gas, bloating, anti-nutrients, gas, bloating, and of course, gas, bloating, and proteins.
So I help a lot of people with transitioning to a vegan diet, to a more plant-based diet, and a lot of people discover that they get quite gassy from the transition, and it's a lot of the foods like beans and lentils that tend to do it. So they'll try and eat this way for a certain amount of time, and they'll say, I'm gonna, instead of having a steak burrito, I'm gonna have this huge bean burrito, and they eat that and they get all gassy and uncomfortable, and then they just decide that the diet, it doesn't work for them, it doesn't work for their body. Do you have anything to add to say about this?
It's a huge question, and in there, you touched upon a number of facets that we do have to take a little time to dissect, because what you say is true, and I've certainly run into those patients who just can't do it. I can't digest this food. It doesn't work for me. It gives me gas. Yeah. Well, we got to take a step back here, and you mentioned a couple of issues here. What really causes the gas? First of all, let's realize that gas normal, natural situation. If I may be so blunt in front of your audience, everybody farts. I mean, all animals do it, all mammals do it. About 20 to 25 times a day, we all do it. And it happens a lot when we're sleeping, when we're horizontal. So it's not a state of disease.
So instead of giving you actual legitimate advice on how you can decrease bloating, gas, indigestion, right? Instead of this is what vegan doctors are forced to do. They're forced to try and normalize your indigestion. They're trying to tell you that farting all the time is absolutely normal. Anybody who's transitioned away from a vegan diet, which most of you will, right? If you're vegan right now, there's almost a 90% chance, probably even higher. That was for vegetarians, right? For vegetarians, it was a nearly 90% recidivism rate, people leaving vegetarianism to go back to eating meat. Now, most of you will not be on a vegan diet soon, and you will realize that you don't need to be farting all the time. Right? The reason you're farting is because you are eating a diet of indigestible foods. You're eating a diet of kibble. You're eating a diet of gerbil foods.
And so people should just understand that as part of having a tubular digestive system where chemistry is happening. but very importantly, where does the gas that is passed come from? Mm-hmm. Well, a significant amount of it, 40, 60, 80%, is swallowed air. What is that? Well, there's air in the food. On a forkful of rice, there's air between the grains of rice. Yeah. In a floret of broccoli, there's air down the floret of broccoli. In a forkful of salad, there's air between the leaves of lettuce. And when we put the food in our mouth and we chew it up and swallow it, if there's a lot of air in the food, we're going to swallow that air. Right. And once that air is in our stomach, it's going to go one of two places. It's going to go up or it's going to go down. Yeah. You either release it discreetly from above. And I'm a big fan of quiet belches after dinner. But if you don't release it from above, it's going to go through your intestinal tract and cause flatulence.
This is the stupidest explanation I've ever heard. It's the air bits in between the salad and the rice that's making you all fart. Because when you eat meat, there's no air that you could be swallowing there either. He's telling you that your gas, your bloating, is just air. This is so ridiculous. And it's sad to see this dude Simnett actually agreeing with him. Licking boots to this vegan ideologue, telling him that farting is because you swallowed too much air. I don't know. The whole 10 minutes of this video is basically this too. You're not farting because you're eating an indigestible diet and it's creating fermentation in your gut. You're not farting because your gut microbiome has been wrecked from all the pesticide-drenched plant-based foods you've been eating. You're not farting because you're eating a bunch of seed oils. You're eating a bunch of grains that are indigestible and full of anti-nutrients, like phytates, phytic acid, like lectins, like gluten, like oxalates. He's not telling you that this might be the issue. He's telling you, oh, it's because you swallowed air with your lettuce. Right? You gotta deflate your lettuce before you eat it, guys. Then you won't fart so much. So everybody, remember to deflate your rice. Right? Squeeze the air out of that food in your mouth, and that'll fix your digestive problems.
So, how do we avoid swallowing so much air? We've often taught how important it is to chew our food really well, break down those cell walls so we can absorb the nutrients in these plant foods. But one advantage of chewing your food well is that it forces the air out of the food. And so by chewing that food to a cream, you're going to swallow a lot less air. But that's really the opposite way most people eat. We're in a big hurry. We got that meeting. We got to catch a plane. Two chews, boom, down it goes, and all the air goes down there. And we wind up passing a lot of gas and blaming the beans. But it wasn't the beans. It was the air swallowing from eating too fast. So I tell people, if you're going to eat some salad, put a forkful of salad in your mouth, put the bloody fork down, make salad puree in your mouth, take the extra 5 or 10 seconds to chew that food to a cream. And you're going to swallow a lot less air as well as get more nutrition out of the food. So eating too fast and not chewing well enough is one major factor. Chew your food. Your mother was right. Chew your food. Listen to her finally. But seriously, it's a major factor in the gas issue. But a significant amount of gas is created when the microbes in our gut ferment the sugars on the surface, especially of legumes, of beans, peas, chickpeas, and lentils. There's a group of sugars called hemicellulose, and the microbes can ferment that into gas. So how do you get rid of that? There are several tricks for doing this. First of all, easy does it. If you're just transitioning to a plant-based diet, the microbes you have in your gut are the ones left over from your omnivore diet. And they're really good gas producers. And it may take you weeks, months for your microbes to adjust to your plant-based diet.
Okay, Dr. Klaper. So the microbes that are left over from an omnivorous diet, the microbes that are left over from all that evil, sinful meat that you're eating, that's the problem, right? This is a really similar argument to the vegans who will say, all the health issues you're experiencing on a vegan diet is detox. You're detoxing all of your former sinful lifestyle where you were eating animal foods. Completely misleading, covers up the real issue, which is that you're eating indigestible foods. You're eating foods that your body can't digest. And there is no requirement for dietary fiber in the human diet. In fact, what we're actually seeing in the real world is people that are dropping dietary fiber are improving their gut microbiota diversity. Right? Now, if we are to go on the assumption that a more diverse microbiome is healthier, which I'm not sure that this has actually been proven yet, this is something that needs to be explored further. But if we do go by that assumption, here's a guy, Adam Viskovich, over on Twitter. He has some great posts talking about how he actually tracked his gut microbiome on different types of diet. When he was on a vegan diet, it was in the 3rd percentile, his microbial diversity. Switching over to a carnivorous diet, it jumped up to the 81st percentile. And then after a year of zero fiber, it was in the 92nd percentile. All right, what's going on here? This guy's not eating fermentable fiber. This completely goes right in. This completely reverses a lot of what we're hearing about the necessity of fiber for your gut microbiome. And it's something that we need to explore further. Check it out. He's also getting more folate-producing microbes, which I think is fascinating because we all know that B vitamin deficiencies are rampant on vegan diets. Dr. Klaper, hope you look into some of this stuff. Hope you look a little bit deeper into this, but it doesn't seem like you're really interested. It seems to me like you might be more concerned with padding your resume with a bunch of duped worshipers who think you're some amazing prophet because you're telling them that their vegan diet is healthy, and you're justifying their religious ideology by saying that it's a good thing for everybody to do, when it is absolutely unsafe, when it is absolutely proven to be nutrient deficient, and when it's wrecking people's guts.
And for that reason, and you said it so beautifully, people, they're so afraid of not getting enough protein that when they're not going to eat that steak, well, I better have a big bowl of bean chili and a big bean burrito, and they wolf that down, and it just overwhelms the microbes in their gut. And, you know, I say, treat your intestinal tract like a 57 Chevy. You know, you're at the stoplight, it's red and turns green. You don't slam the accelerator to the floor and peel out. Easy does it. You know, on the gas. Same thing in introducing these legumes. How about just a tablespoon or 2 of the bean chili, of the lentil stew for a few nights there, and slowly increase the amount of legumes in your diet over weeks, and give your gut flora time to catch up. And so, slow introduction of these high fiber, especially leguminous foods, really important. And cooking those legumes, really important. There are a lot of the hemicellulose, lectins, things like that, will all dissipate as you cook the beans and you cook the lentils. Now, all beans and lentils should be so soft you can squish them in your between your 2 fingers there. And when you get them to that consistency, there's very little in the way of fermentable sugars and lectins and things like that left. So cook your beans, cook your legumes very thoroughly. And again, consume enough water with your meals so your digestive enzymes can get into the foods and do a nice thorough digestion on the fermentable sugars.
This is probably the worst piece of advice he's given yet. So instead of giving you practical advice on how to reduce gas and bloating, i.e. cutting out those indigestible foods, focusing on easily digestible and assimilable, nourishing animal foods, instead of doing that, he's telling you to dilute your stomach acid even more. Vegans and vegetarians already have very low stomach acid, very low HCl. They're not able to break down that food before it gets to the gut, which is what's causing the fermentation and causing their gas and bloating. Right? It's funny because the vegans and vegetarians talk about, they say meat rots in your gut, it putrefies in your colon. This is a complete lie. Meat and animal foods and foods from the animal kingdom that don't have fiber in them are easily digested and absorbed long before they get to the colon. So they're telling you to eat a bunch of indigestible legumes, grains, beans, anti-nutrient-filled plant foods that will require some breakdown by microbes in the colon. Right? So they're telling you to eat a diet that you have to rot in your gut and telling you that that's good, right? When plants rot in your gut, good. But meat is going to go in your gut and that's going to rot and that's bad. It's completely backwards. It's false on so many levels. But this advice to drink a lot of water with your meals is terrible. Right? Whereas some people might be able to drink a few sips of water, maybe have a glass of water with a steak and be fine and digest it okay. If you've got low stomach acid and you're pounding water before or after or during a meal, you're not going to digest that food correctly. You're going to dilute that acid and you're going to have issues. Man, I mean, it seems like the really intelligent thing to do is the complete opposite of what a lot of these vegan ideologue doctors are out there telling you to do. Dr. Klaper, I don't know where you're getting this advice from, but it seems like Simnett actually understands that this is a poor piece of advice, especially for vegans and vegetarians. You want to stop having gas? Eat foods you can digest. Eat animal foods. Cut out the indigestible foods. Stop eating the foods that give you gas and bloating. And eat a human-appropriate diet based around animal foods. And don't dilute your stomach acid with a bunch of water around your meals if you're already at risk for having low stomach acid. There's this thing called an intrinsic factor that's actually triggered by HCl production. And this is in the gastric mucosa. And this helps to unlock and absorb vitamin B12. So if you follow Dr. Klaper's advice, you're going to be even more nutrient deficient.
And if you do these things, you're going to have some gas. And remember, there's a lag period. The food you eat determines the microbes that live in your gut. And if you eat a bunch of sugar or meat or dairy, you're going to summon up a particular set of microbes that are waiting there. Then when that legume sugar, the hemisoil, comes down, the ones that you set up from your diet a week or two before may say, oh, go to town and create gas, and you'll blame the beans from that meal. Right. But really, it's a leftover. The body is a dynamic mechanism that adjusts slowly sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so easy does it with the legume protein. Introduce it slowly, cook it well, chew it well, slow down, enjoy every mouthful by chewing your food well. And you're going to have some gas, everybody farts, but it's okay. And as the weeks and months go by, it gets much more tolerable and you'll stay much more acceptable to your friends. But just because you have some initial flatulence there, don't assume I can't digest this food and this diet doesn't work for me. You're a mammal in transition in your diet. Cut yourself lots of slack and time for that, and things will settle down.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a great answer. I think there was a time that my digestion was not great when I was eating plant-based, and it wasn't early on in my journey either. It happened sort of all of a sudden, and I didn't know what it was. We were kind of trying to scramble to figure out what it was, and I did like parasite cleanse and all this stuff. I've told the story on my channel before, but we figured out that I was trying to build muscle, so I was just cramming in a ton of food. I was working and I was going to school at the same time, so I was always on the move when I was eating. I only have, I'd half an hour in between classes or a half hour off the work floor to eat. So here I am just trying to eat as much as I can this amount of time, not thinking about what I'm doing, swallowing as fast as I can. And man, I didn't know what was wrong. I turned to parasites. I had no idea what the heck it was going on. And then, started slowing down, relaxing, enjoying my food. I changed my lifestyle up a little bit. It was actually once I got out of school and started working a different job. But so it's huge factors, and so I'm glad that you said those things.
Absolutely, and again, words are so weighty in their meaning. And when you say I have digestive problems, then to the doctor that implies is there malabsorption, is there enzyme deficiency, is there some medical issue? Right. But what the person's really saying is like, I'm farting a lot, I got a lot of gas. Well, that does not mean you've got a digestive problem. It just means that there's some biochemistry going on in your colon that's producing a little extra carbon dioxide and methane. But that does not mean your whole digestive system is skewed and defective and has a serious disease. So start with this simple common thing. Common things are common, as they say. And you did that. You started with the basics of my lifestyle and how I'm eating. And that's really where the answer lies.
Yeah.
And good for you for
Yeah.
coming to that.
Yeah, it took a couple rounds of parasite cleanses to figure it out.
Yeah, really.
Don't know what damage I did in the meantime.
Simnett Nutrition. Not sure how long he's been vegan, but he is one of the future ex-vegans on YouTube who seems like he's doing relatively well with a vegan diet. Hopefully, he's able to continue it and not wreck his health like so many other people we see out there. But the gas issues, the digestive issues, the bloating, all this stuff is unnecessary. You don't have to suffer through it. That's why we run this vegan rescue operation here. So make sure to check out primaledgehealth.com, our website. Also, like the video, subscribe to the channel, share this. It really helps with the algorithm. We are here fighting against this agenda, not because we don't like vegans, but because we see the damage that this does. And we see the massive push by these global mega corporations, governments, and NGOs to force us onto this nutrient-deficient kibble diet and remove our ability to feed ourselves off of our own land. So shop locally, eat that locally produced meat, enjoy your life. Quit spending so much dang time on the social media. And if you are transitioning out of a vegan diet, or if you're just looking to improve your health, lose some body fat, improve your mental clarity and cognition, and looking to try out a ketogenic, low carbohydrate, or carnivorous diet, make sure to check out the Keto and Carnivore Collective. We're doing our next session in about 2 weeks. You can sign up at primaledgehealth.com. It is our group coaching where we use a live forum. We do 2 live interactive voice chats every single week. There's a private community that you have to support yourself and each other. Right? So you guys are there to support each other as well as get support from your coaches. We work on a full holistic lifestyle approach to improving health, and it's a little bit more than just diet. So check out the review we did with our buddies over at the Boiler Room. Shout out to Hesher and Spore, Hesher and Spore from the Boiler Room. Check out the review we did with them. The next one is starting on October 6th. We might even be sponsoring a few ex-vegans on this next one. So maybe we'll announce that in some coming live streams, which I'll be back on the live streams soon. And then check out also the 21-day The Quick Start Guide to Carnivory and 21-Day Carnivore Diet Meal Plan. Jessica did a really great job at putting together this book here. It takes about 21 days to completely rewire your habits and rewire your central nervous systems into dietary habits. And this plan is made to help introduce you to carnivory and get you transitioned into the diet so that you can maintain it long term to make those health gains you're looking for. So anyways, you can find more at primaledgehealth.com. Get off the dang life.